Alright, I have no idea how well this can hear me, but I'm going to try and document my little walk around today on the Abe Emerson Wildlife Marsh. Hopefully this hears me. No idea, figure it out later. And of course this sounds a little awkward. I didn't really bring anything to mount the camera with me today, so it's going to mostly just be panning and a little walking, and we'll see how it goes. So right now I'm just going up to kind of the water's edge a little bit. This is somewhere I've been able to go despite any kind of water levels, the water being too high or too low or anything along those lines. So primarily this is me really testing the video and smoothing capabilities out on my little action cam that I got this past Christmas. So we'll see how it goes beyond recording chipmunks in my backyard. Should probably pay a little bit more attention to where I walk. Alright, so this is one of the little spots I come down to first. Doesn't look too bad on the camera. So this is where I kind of stand around and look for a moment. So I'm going to be here for a bit. I hear some birds, definitely some red-winged blackbirds, and see if I can't see anything. So I'm going to put the camera down for a minute or two. Wish I was a little more prepared for this. I could like set up on a mini tripod or something, but hopefully I'll see you again soon. Alright, so I don't know how well you can see it or hear it for that matter, but the one unfortunate thing about this marsh is it does run along one of the highways in the area. So right now I'm getting a fair amount of traffic in the backyard. One unfortunate thing is I have this really bad habit of not having my camera ready when I go out and try to take photos. So if something happens right in front of me, I often miss those moments. And that's exactly what just happened before I left my car. I did not make sure my camera was ready to go. I had manual focus on from a photo of the moon that I took last night. I had my lens cap on and all of that, and right in front of this tree here, what I didn't see when I first came down here was a mama duck and her babies. And when I went to put the camera down, she kind of started swimming away and then realized I was here. So she moved really fast, and I basically saw the baby ducklings kind of run across the water, which was really cute and funny. Although, you know, it was due to me scaring them. But unfortunately, because I'm slow in not having my camera ready, I didn't get the shot. It's funny, I believe in the cover your butt shooting and to make sure to take enough shots, but it is not very often that I'm ready to go when I come out and take shots. Alright, so there is an actual trail here. It's one I've never been on. I really didn't discover this marsh until this year. Last year I thought I had a little bit, but like there's a little parking lot, and actually because of a beaver dam no longer really connects to the actual trail. So this summer I actually realized where the sign was for the trail, the bit that I showed you in the beginning of the video, and realized, oh, there's a trail and there were nice clear trail markers. But one of the unfortunate things was at the time that the water was pretty high and I didn't have a way of making it through. So I came out here yesterday, but it was late in the day. It wouldn't have been a good time to like try and walk on an unknown trail. So I'm out here this afternoon to see if I can actually make it up the trail and take a look at some of the wildlife that's in this area, that I basically see what I can see, I suppose. So I was able to cross. You can't really, well, you can kind of see where I came from, but It looks like the trail itself isn't too bad in terms of still being clear-ish. There's certainly some ferns up. Helps make it pretty, to me anyway. So I'll see how this goes. But yeah, definitely these trail markers are nice and clear, and they seem to be like every 15-20 feet, so it's definitely not hard to follow the trail. So hopefully I'll have some good luck today. Actually, before I decided to come over this way, I did see a different family of ducks. It looks like there's like a larger group. I couldn't tell if it was male or female, or if they were even mallards, which are pretty common in the area. We'll see where this goes. I'm over on a part of the trail that actually looks like it arrows off to come to a point. Looks like it points a little further down that way. But I kind of just stopped here for a moment because it opens up a little bit. I mean, there's still trees in the way before the water's edge, and I shouldn't even say before the water's edge because they're actually in the water. But what's funny is I can't tell how fresh or old some of it is, but there's definitely plenty of remnants of beavers around here and some fallen trees. And the funny thing is, when I came through here yesterday, they were a little too far away to get a nice photo of, but I definitely saw some beavers heading over this direction. It was probably, I don't know, 6 o'clock or so. Although the dam is kind of over that direction. Kind of between where I am now and the parking lot that I thought was the main part of the trail last year. It's actually a funny thing trying to remember to document what you're doing when you're not quite used to doing it. Anyway, I'm up the trail a little bit, and definitely in a, kind of a marshy area. It's pretty dry where I'm at, but I'm also not that far away from the water. Anyway, I saw some wood ducks and whatnot. I got some photos. I don't know how well they'll come out because the water glare is pretty bad. I do not have a polarized filter for my Sigma lens. That needs to be on my shopping list. Anyway, I think I'm going to continue the trail. I see markers still for it. I was debating about walking more or not. I kind of want to see if it follows the marsh. If it still follows the marsh, I probably will, just to see if I see anything else. If it looks like it starts to turn away from the water, I'll probably just turn back around and come the way that I came. So, we'll see how it goes. I think I've been saying that a lot already. I'm honestly only about 30 feet up from where I last recorded, but it's funny how much it changes so quickly just by walking a little bit. Some fallen trees here. Forget how the ground can be rocky, like just how much stuff you actually see when the land is cleared away. It's not just cleared of trees, but like cleared of other things too. Anyway, it looks like someone left a glove here. Probably been here for a little while. I don't know how often this trail actually gets used and walked on, because I know that nearby there's a rail trail and the pond I've certainly walked on quite a few times. It's actually the same trail where I got the photo of the oriole that's on my Instagram feed. The funny thing is, throughout here there is a stone wall. Up by the road makes sense, but here it's interesting because I definitely wonder what the property lines look like once upon a time. That, now in the middle of an Audobon conservation, there's a stone wall. Anyway, I think I'm going to keep going because it does look like the trail follows the marsh, so I'll see, I'll see how it goes. Wonder which way I should go. Up would be fun. I know that's really corny. So this is probably one of the best spots where I can show this because I'm hoping that those other markers are reflecting, but I'm looking at this on like a little tiny screen. But anyway, see the trail markers. There's a few down there, and this is what I've come across a few times. It's super, super wet. You can certainly be walked around easy enough, but when you do it a few times, it's a little annoying. And I know in general, like, that's hiking, etc., but I honestly haven't done a real hike in years. I haven't even done a real trail walk other than like rail trails. So I'm gonna keep going, but it's just one of those interesting little things to keep in mind next time I try to come through here. And also, frustratingly, because I'm seeing a lot of photos of birds, and I'm certainly hearing a lot of birds, finding them is certainly another story. But nevertheless, I'll see where this day takes me. Oh yes, the next time I do this, I need to look through the stuff that came with my camera, because I either have something to mount the camera to my hat with, or at the very least like a strap, and I am wearing a shoulder strap for my camera, so just maybe I can actually keep it on and just kind of have the camera kind of follow along with my adventures. The only thing is, with this camera, right now I'm just holding on to it as it is, but it is of course like a little, you know, $20–25 action camera, which means in itself it's not waterproof. So I have to see the mountings and see if I can actually mount the camera without its waterproof casing, so that if I'm trying to document this and have the camera hear me, that it will do that without me having to figure out a way of externally recording what it is I'm trying to narrate. Oh yeah, this doesn't look creepy at all. And that just happens to be the lighting from that last bit, because it definitely opens back up to the marsh here. I'm certainly noticeably closer to the highway. I don't know how well you can see that. It is funny how much this trail must have been used at one point though, because like definitely paths are certainly still pretty clear. There's a red marker. I wonder what the red marker means. Thankfully I'm pretty good with directions, and I know that I was following yellow markers and whatnot. So anyway, I'm going to go see what I can see once I actually get up to the water's edge. So I'm up here at the water's edge. Like I said before, definitely noticeably closer to the highway. As I was kind of just looking around, I did see a heron start to fly. At first I actually wasn't sure what it was. All I saw was something big. I thought it might have been like a goose or something from kind of over that general direction, and then it flew and it kept going all the way, and it's somewhere over there now. A couple of things: this marsh is way bigger than I thought it was, which is actually really great for the wildlife in the area. I know we could use more space, but as I'm talking, I'm seeing the heron again. I know we could always use more space, but it is good to know that here in town there is this here in the pond that's neighboring to this marsh area. I saw this heron. It's actually my last photo of a heron on my Instagram. I think that was taken sometime in May of 2020. I'm not sure of the date. Maybe if I remember, I'll put up the photo, or at least the date of the photo, on the video. But anyway, it is definitely good to see and hear the wildlife in the area. So I'm going to continue my trek and see how it goes. I don't know how much further I'm going to walk, because I'm pretty sure I'm just going to like turn around and walk back the way I came. I don't really want to get to a point of no return. This wasn't fully prepared. I don't have any water with me. I don't have snacks. People know I'm in the area, but they didn't realize I was going to be, you know, walking at all. To be honest, neither did I. We'll see how it goes. And again, it's all about, for me, for today, is staying along the water's edge, just to see what I can see. So I'll see you soon. I don't know why I keep saying I'll see you soon, because I know that so far this is not meant to be the end of this video. And I've already said it like 6 other times at least. So again, I'm not too far from the last point that I was recording. We got the trail markers there. Pretty much the other side of that big log you see is where I just was. I'm just slowly meandering. I'm trying to see where this trail goes, and I can see that it still follows the water for a little bit. So since it still follows the water for a little bit, I'll keep walking at least a little bit further. But the funny thing is there's definitely this fallen tree. All the color's a little washed out. I wonder if I create a shadow. There we go. So we've got this fallen birch, and this fallen birch was definitely one of the markers. Thankfully, with the fact that they're nice bright yellow markers, you can tend to see pretty well. Like right there, kind of in the middle of the frame, is the next marker up now. And it's got a little arrow pointing that direction. So I'll push on a little bit more. I think pushing on a little bit more is going to end up being the story of the day. There are so many red-winged blackbirds around, and considering I live less than a mile from here, I wouldn't be surprised if the ones that visit my backyard nest somewhere in this marsh, considering how many are in the area. Like, the red-winged blackbirds are all the way on this side of the marsh. They're up near where I park. It's kind of funny. That wasn't really the point of doing this part of my clips. I've been thinking a lot recently about my photography and how much I've been relying on, like, my Sigma lens and having it shoot in burst mode, and while it's been great to get the shots of the birds, you know, some of the shots are pretty good, others are okay. And really it's taking the idea of composition out of my photos. And for some of the videos I've been watching recently, there's a theme, or not a theme, but something that I need to personally work on with my photos in general, because I will say it certainly lacks in my photos, and if I could practice it and actually get it to a point where it's an element in my photos, would probably take my work to another level. And that's, you know, telling a story with your photo, like what's going on. Like right now, you know, I'm in the middle of this, you know, this conservation area, and there's just this stone wall, this rock wall. You know, what happened to the town? Like how, like, I mean, these trees are, I mean, the pines, and I understand the pines grow relatively fast, but at the same time, it's all overgrowth. The Audobon Society decided to make it a conservation. You know, the trail was maintained pretty well at one point. So, you know, what's the story behind the stone walls? I know that's kind of random, but it's because I'm literally standing here looking at the wall right now. But it is something I have to work on in my photography. So I think in the upcoming weeks and months ahead of us, it's going to be elements that I work on. Not just the idea of telling a story, but also doing various challenges, things like the quote-unquote film challenge. I don't know why I said quote-unquote. I'm that guy, I suppose. Anyway, with the film challenge, you tell yourself you're only going to take 24 photos or 36. I used to buy the roll of 36. But I suppose for the role of the challenge, I might just do 24. I honestly don't know yet. But the idea is, when you're going out and you're taking photos, you limit yourself to that. You know, you act like you have a roll of film with you. Not 2 rolls of film, not 3. I mean, 3 rolls of 36. You know, that's a lot of photos you can take in a day. The idea is that you go out and you pretend that you have a roll of film with you, and those are the shots you take. It forces you to slow down, it forces you to think about the composition, it forces you to think about what you're about to take a photo of, and is it worth using one of those slots. So I do like the idea of that. I like the idea of a single lens challenge. I've been relying very heavily on my telephoto lens, and I have a nifty 50, I have my kit 18 to 55, and I have a 70 to 300. So I have 3 other lenses that I haven't touched this spring. So I think I have to kind of reassess how I take some photos. Personally, I know I happen to love my telephoto. I love being able to take photos of things that you can't get close to. But at the same time, I do need to work on other techniques, and I think those challenges are good practice for focusing on other techniques. Anyway, I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to go further or not. I kind of feel like I might just turn back at this point, and come out a little bit more ready to go. Bring a lightweight backpack, bring a couple bottles of water, bring some snacks, and just kind of take my time going around the full trail and seeing what happens. I may even make it a photo challenge day, because I will tell you what, this is a great place to bring a telephoto lens. But if I happen to only bring my 18 to 55, it would certainly force me to reckon with shooting with what I have at the moment. Might also be simply a good place for the film challenge too, and you know, not kick myself if I see something relatively rare. Sorry for the crunching, I'm stepping on some tree branches, and not having it ready to go. So I don't know, maybe the next time I come up here I'll just do the same thing, document what I've got, bring and just be a little bit more ready to actually walk and see what happens. Still debating about continuing or going back. That's going back. That would be continuing. Still kind of debating. Hey everyone, I just realized the time. It's just about 5:30. No one knows, like I said before, that I've actually decided to walk the trail. So what I've decided to do, at least for the time being, is to head back, and that way, you know, I know what the trail looks like that I've already been on. At least that will be semi-familiar to me, considering I've not been here before. That I can also feel like I can take my time, so if I see any ducks or beavers like I did last night, I'll be able to take a photo, get a photo or two with any luck. I got some photos already. Considering the way the water was reflecting, they're not the greatest, but I'll probably do a little photo montage after I've decided I'm done recording these clips at the end of the video. Heading back now, and hopefully I'll have some luck seeing some stuff, and I'll probably do at least one more clip before I decide to finish up and show you the crappy photos I got today, and hopefully a handful of good photos. This was my first time ever seeing wood ducks, and I also realized that I need a polarized filter for my Sigma lens, especially if I'm going to be going and taking photos over water more often. There were more ducklings. I don't know if they were still wood ducks or if they were mallards and I just didn't see the adults around, but there was a bunch of these cute little ducklings swimming around. And then they realized I was there. As I said in the main part of the video, there were certainly rock walls going through a fair amount of the trails. This was on one of the corners of the walls near the beginning of the trail, and I just thought it was kind of neat, so I grabbed the snapshot using my Galaxy S10. At the pond across from this marsh earlier this spring, I had seen a great blue heron and had gone up a few more times in order to try and find it and grab more photos of it, but I hadn't seen it again since earlier this spring. When I went on the trail and was at the back end of the marsh, I saw this heron flying. Unfortunately, these are really the only two good shots I got from it because I didn't double check my shutter speed before grabbing the photo, so it was ever so slightly too slow to get some nice high action shots of how fast the heron was flying. But these two were at least decent enough to use. Even though I recorded part of my video while looking at this tree and explaining the markers, for some reason I decided to grab a still photo using my phone. Heard this guy well before I saw him. It's always funny how loud the red-winged blackbirds are, and there are a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them on the marsh. They are at the beginning of it, and they're certainly at the back end of the marsh as well. I actually really like this shot. I wasn't even expecting to see a barn or house or whatever that actually is. I'm also not sure entirely where it is in relative to where I was on the trail at that point, but I just really liked the way that it kind of stood out from the trees and the reeds and everything that was kind of going on around me. Unfortunately, there wasn't a spot to be super clear view to the barn, but I happen to really like how this image came out. Not much to see here, I suppose. Just some blue wildflowers and then mushrooms on a tree. This is another photo I like pretty well from the day. This was also taken with my Galaxy S10. I should have taken something on the shorter focal length with me for my Nikon, but this came out pretty well, I think.